and then losing the lawsuit is to never adopt an ordinance that somebody might say violates the Constitution. Now, I recognize that there was a lot of public comment that was criticizing the ordinance that we adopted as being contrary to the First Amendment rights. And I can assure you that I took that to great heart when I did the research to ultimately allow the city to move forward with an ordinance that they wanted to adopt, relying upon precedent from the U.S. Supreme Court. And it's the same precedent, by the way, that the governor's attorneys are relying upon in their efforts now to try to control the language that's going to be on signs within the Capitol building. And they obviously have come to the same conclusion that I did at the time that I researched the issue and relied upon the U.S. Supreme Court's decision, which defined indecent speech as it relates to the language such as the F word, and whether or not there is a public interest in protecting children from exposure to such language. But they may find that their ordinance, their regulation is determined by a court also to be in violation of the Constitution, as our circuit court judge did, or they may find a judge up in Tallahassee that's going to rely upon the precedent that I relied upon, and apparently that the governor's attorneys are relying upon, that found that it was legally permissible to regulate indecent speech. There's no guarantees with respect to the opinions that lawyers render based upon their reference to court decisions, just as there was no guarantee that the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Roe versus Wade would remain the decision forever. That's the challenge of being a city attorney, and I continue to do my best to give you sage advice based upon thorough legal research. Thank you.
Cop Watch, policing the police every single day.
Hey, Charlotte County, this is Sherry County Cop Watch, and we sadly got to make a report on this before I do a screen read on, because I know you guys love that. I'm not going to read the whole damn thing. You read it. Anyways, fucking our fascist dictator is fucking us again for free speech in Florida. You know, people keep saying we're fucking free, but yet we got the most people in jail and prison than the whole rest of the world. How the fuck can you be free when it's like that? You guys are fucking stupid sheep. Plan would restrict protests at state capitol. He has done this repeatedly. He said we can't fucking protest in the streets. We can't protest at the state capitol. There's so many things. They keep saying he's the best fucker ever. He's the best fascist ever. Jesus Christ, this shit has got to stop, man. Now we can't even have redress at the Capitol? What's next? They're going to ban redress here in Charlotte County and Punta Gorda? Oh, that's right. They already did. So I guess shit starts at the bottom and it actually runs uphill. It doesn't run downhill. Actually, maybe that does run downhill and then to these fuckers. Because like I said, Ron DeSantis has multiple times tried to kill free speech and he's doing it again. Jesus Christ, our founding fathers shot the Redcoat British Police for freedom. It was the people from the churches that helped do it. It was the black robe ministers that were turning people onto freedom. The minute a Redcoat British cop saw a fucking preacher, they shot them dead because they were turning on the people to freedom. And now we got churches that worship this goddamn dictatorship. Seriously? Did anybody read the Bible? Multiple times in the Bible, God and Jesus both fought tyranny. They fought for freedom. Wake the hell up and read it, man. God killed everybody on the planet except for one family because evil was on the earth. Guess what? Evil is here in America, especially here in Punta Gorda, especially here in Charlotte County, especially in Florida, this whole state. Wake the fuck up. Take a goddamn country back. Because if you don't, you're going to go just like the Jews did, on your knees. The Jews said, we could trust them. They won't do anything bad, as they put them in the fucking camps, the ovens, the showers with Zyklon B. Oh my God, fucking people, wake the fuck up. You are not free. To prove it, get the book 3 Felonies a Day. And if you keep sucking their dick, let me know when we can arrest you, ruin your life and your family's life, you fucking sheep.
Plan would restrict protests at state capitol. By Ryan, Daily News Service of Florida 11 hours ago. 0. Tallahassee, citing a potential infringement of free speech rights and other constitutional liberties, dozens of people gathered to challenge a rule proposed by Governor Ron DeSantis' administration that would restrict the way protests can be conducted in Florida's Capitol complex. The State Department of Management Services proposal, in part, seeks to prohibit actions or displays that are harmful to children from taking place in the Capitol. Because the Capitol complex is often a destination for children learning about their state government, visual displays, sounds, and other actions that are harmful to minors as defined in state law, or which include gratuitous violence, or gore, are not permitted in any portion of the Capitol complex that is not a traditional public forum, the proposed rule said. Numerous individuals and representatives of advocacy groups that frequently hold demonstrations at the Capitol pushed back against the proposal during a public hearing Thursday. Rich Templin, Director of Politics and Public Policy for the Florida AFL-CIO, said he has spent decades in and around the Capitol and sees absolutely no reason for a change in this rule. In 20 years, I've never seen the process stopped or impeded for any significant amount of time, much to my chagrin, to be honest. I've never seen gore inside the Capitol complex. I've never seen officers or staff hurt, Templin said. Templin also said he has guided tours for elementary school children of the Capitol building and never ran into the issues the proposed rule seeks to block. Protests have long been commonplace inside the state capitol. During the 2022 legislative session, for instance, student protesters filled the building's 4th-floor rotunda, just outside of the doors to the House and Senate chambers, voicing loud objections to a controversial education measure. The measure, which ultimately was signed by DeSantis, is designed to bar classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in early grades. Republican lawmakers who supported the bill described it as a way to strengthen parents' control of what their children encounter in the classroom. The measure's detractors disparagingly labeled it the Don't Say Gay bill. The proposed rule could be used to censor viewpoints in support of LGBTQ+ youth and families, Kara Gross, legislative director for the ACLU of Florida, said in a statement condemning the plan. Representatives from other organizations similarly criticized the proposal as having the potential to allow state leaders to stifle political foes. Not only is the proposal itself outrageous, but the way they want to implement it will amount to nothing more than profiling by the state Capitol Police, Tessa Petty, co-executive director of the Florida Immigrant Coalition, said in a statement. They want to empower law enforcement to remove individuals they think may prove disruptive from traditional public forum arenas. Another part of the proposal dealing with disturbances and removal from the Capitol lays out offenses that would cause violators to be removed from state buildings for trespassing. Public access does not permit anyone to enter or remain in or upon buildings in the Florida facilities pool while creating a disturbance that is impeding or disrupting the performance of official duties or functions of public employees or officers or preventing access by members of the public, the proposed rule said. N.R. Hines, a criminal justice policy strategist for the ACLU of Florida, said parts of the rule are unconstitutional. Protests are a crucial means of expressing disagreement with your government, Hines said. Hines pointed to a portion of the proposal that laid out criteria for trespassing and removal by law enforcement such as the Capitol Police as being a violation of rights. The proposal discussed Thursday included some changes from an earlier draft of the plan. For example, the latest version of the proposed rule dropped a provision that would have prohibited conduct in state buildings that creates loud or unusual noise. Another change walked back a part of the rule that would have allowed people to be removed from state buildings for conduct that would be likely to impede or disrupt public officials' duties. The Department of Management Services is accepting written public comment on the proposal until December 8.